What's going on, guys? It's your boy Darth Vader here with the latest Star Wars news. But before we do start, remember, hit that subscribe, like, and notification bell so you're always in the know. Also, go check out my last video as it was a good one. Give it a thumbs up as you watch. Let's start the show because we got some big news today. So recently, it has been brought to my attention, and I think about this. One of the biggest Star Wars questions that I think that the fans have, myself even, is Darth Vader versus Maul. Why hasn't it come into light? Will it come into light? Could it come in Kenobi? And if it can, how will it happen? How will they introduce it? Wow, let's talk a little bit about it because we actually have here a Star Wars comic that actually gave a full detail and basically a whole thing on how Vader and Maul fought and how he was resurrected, and which is, we're gonna get into the naming of that because again, we know how he basically came back, which was in the Clone Wars, how they brought him back. But in this Star Wars comic, in Star Wars Tales issue 9, the short story entitled Resurrection imagined the return of Darth Maul long before he was canonly brought back, like I said, during the Clone Wars animated series. So this happened before, and again, this would come years after the comic's publication, and instead Darth Maul is, you know, brought back closer to the events just before Star Wars A New Hope. So this is not even the way we got it in the Clone Wars. Now I have to say I do love the story of it. I like the Clone Wars story. I have to admit that. But could you imagine if we were to get this around the time of A New Hope and to kill Darth Vader and assume his place at Emperor Palpatine's side? Could you imagine that? And what follows is the answer to a question plenty of fans have asked over the years. Again, back to what I said. What happens if Vader fought Maul? Now, previously as mentioned, you know, during the Star Wars Tales non-canonical, obviously, collection of the short series, which had a run from 1999 to 2005, imagining different scenarios and events with Star Wars universe, but not being necessarily part of the official, you know, continuity. And in Star Wars Tale 9, a group of Sith heretics lure Darth Vader to a planet strong with the dark side of the Force, believing basically he had a lead on the stolen Death Star plans. Vader instead comes face to face with said heretics. Now, they present Darth Maul to Vader. Long thought, obviously, you know, he had been dead. They see Vader as a threat to the dark side and to the, you know, the master Palpatine / Sidious. So this is obviously we know this is like big, right? And due to his past as a Jedi and, you know, remaining with the light within him, for this reason, they work to resurrect Maul, which is hilariously funny, to replace Vader. How do you replace the man, the myth, the legend Vader? Well, they assume that if Maul can kill Vader, which is not that far off, because again, comment down below if you think Maul can kill Vader. Again, Maul, we do know, is very, you know, he has a lot of acrobatic moves, but could he kill Vader? And that is the question. But it will please Palpatine for sure, and Maul can take the place he once had as his apprentice. Vader has no choice in this series but to agree to the duel, because if he doesn't, it would diminish him in the Emperor's eyes, and according to the heretics, he'd never know if he was Maul, you know, if he was better than Maul or not. And the duel between Vader and Maul in this tale, again, it's simply amazing. It's really cool because it takes, again, place in this ancient Sith temple across rocks and rivers of molten lava. You know, basically the duel between Obi-Wan Kenobi and Anakin Skywalker, like in Revenge of the Sith, which was responsible for Anakin's transformation into Vader. So throughout their epic duel, actually, Maul taunts Vader, which is hilariously funny because, again, he can do a lot of these acrobatic moves, and we've seen it obviously in the movies and in the Clone Wars, telling him that he couldn't possibly have the amount of hate and darkness necessary to be a true Sith Lord worthy of Palpatine. The light he refuses to snuff out limits his hate, as well as the parts of him that are machine, according to Maul. However, in a surprise move, Vader wins the day with a tactic that requires nothing but pure hatred, just not in any way, in that Maul or the heretics could have predicted. Vader plunges his lightsaber through his own body into Maul's. Now, that is definitely fueled by hatred and anger, as he has towards himself, enough to slay Maul. Right as he is about to slay, the shocked heretics, the Emperor blasts them both with lightning, having just arrived. While the Emperor seems glad that Vader was victorious, the story is left, with this ambiguous as, to whether or not Emperor himself was aware of the heretics' actions, with what Vader follows, his master. It's insane to see this and to see the journey that happens, and right before the original trilogy. So it's unfortunate that, in this incredible duel, and equally, epic dialogue aren't part of the original, or shall I say official Star Wars canon, and even more unfortunate that they will likely never duel at any point. But while there was once an opportunity for Vader to battle with Maul in a similar duel in season 2 of Rebels, it was scrapped. Now, I will say this, we do know that they canceled out Maul, and again, this time last year, it was brought to us and said that Ray Park would bring back Maul in the Kenobi series, because there's an image that is actually out there with him wearing the actual shirt from the Kenobi series. So to be honest, this would have been really cool to see, not just Kenobi and Vader fighting, but could you imagine if these two fought? I mean, again, they don't have to, not one of them has to die, but could you imagine if it was like a duel of, like, that would have been an awesome duel of the century to see these two Sith fight. And again, I know that this story took place, before the events of A New Hope, but could you imagine 10 years later, the two of them meet up again? He's still around. This is the time of Crimson Dawn. He's still very much alive, and Vader is out there, and they can both run into each other in the Kenobi series and square off, and they can have this fight or this battle, and it can be something where they both get very wounded. They both cut off some robotic arms or legs. Whatever it is, I'm okay with that, and I wouldn't mind it. And to be honest with you, this is a fight I would have loved to see, I think, a little bit more than Kenobi. I'm not disagreeing with what they're doing now. I love it to see Ewan McGregor back, but could you imagine, instead of seeing Ewan fight Maul fighting Vader? I think that would have brought way more attention, way more heat, and I think it would have just put in a better story, because again, then you bring in Crimson Dawn, and that can lead into another series, as Ray Park can reprise that role to bring us Darth Maul and the rise of Crimson Reign, or at least, again, not the rise, because we know that they were already around right after the Clone Wars, but again, what they're doing around this time, and again, Drayden Voss, we know that we've heard that they're supposed to be doing an animated series around this time, so I think that it'd be very crucial to see what they have in store for the Kenobi series, and maybe, who knows, again, there's been so many references, so many little jabs at different characters that could possibly be in this, as we already know it's a star-studded cast, yes, but who's to say we can't get a little taste of, Maul and Vader fighting together? And the story's there, it's already out there, it's been told already. It's just again a couple years before A New Hope, but again, I'll take this story any day. Anyway, guys, comment down below. Let me know what you thought about this video. Let me know if you would want to see Vader and Maul fight at one point in the Kenobi series, or if you would want it to happen at all, or if not, listen, I respect it, to each their own, But again, this is something that I always wanted to see, Anakin fighting Maul, or, Vader fighting Maul. in this timeline. Again, comment down below. Let me know what you think. Hit that subscribe, like, and notification bell so you're always in the know. And again, I would love to hear your guys' thoughts and theories on possibly seeing Maul in the Kenobi series. Later, guys.